Hot and breathless from performing the newly imported French dance steps of the quadrille, Gwyneth paused during the break in the music. She fanned her heated cheeks, attempting to cool herself. Lord Henley glanced down at her. His lips were tight, his eyes dark with need. She had seen that same look on the faces of many men, but never on the face of the only man who mattered. She wanted to see the same burning desire and possessiveness in the eyes of her childhood infatuation as she knew blazed in her eyes when she looked at the impossible but dazzling Viscount Ashworth. The gentleman newly arrived had barely glanced at her, despite the new gown made especially to entice the hard-headed rake. Her friend and dress designer, Amelia, obsessed with the simplicity of Greek togas, had crisscrossed sky-blue silk across Gwyneth's ample chest with a dramatic décolletage. The back of the gown was draped in the same manner with a revealing V. It was a simple design, but sensual in the way the fabric clung to her body. She felt alluring, and she was hopeful that tonight Ash would finally throw off all the restraints. She had felt his eyes on her back, knowing he watched her as she gaily danced the intricate pattern she had recently learned from her French dance master. Lord Henley offered his arm as the quadrille ended. "May I take you to the refreshment table for a glass of punch? This new French dance is very demanding."
"Thank you. I'm not thirsty. Can you please take me to my dear friend, Miss Bonington?"
Lord Henley's eyes clouded with emotion. Gwyneth couldn't refuse the dance, but she needed to escape the gentleman before he embarrassed himself. She wanted to spare him the pain of rejection. After 5 marriage proposals this season, she had become somewhat of an expert in recognizing the signs of imminent declaration. Lord Henley escorted Gwyneth to Amelia, who had also finished dancing and now stood alone.
"Thank you, sir, for the dance."
Gwyneth did a brief curtsy. Lord Henley bowed. "It was my pleasure." He hesitated, then sharply nodded his head. She didn't want to be unkind, but there was no reason to pretend interest and encourage hope when there was none. They watched Lord Henley circle to the other side of the room. Amelia hid her face in her fan, her bright eyes dancing in merriment.
"Another stricken gentleman." "I believe he was about to ask if he could call on my brother tomorrow. I think I did an excellent job of extricating myself before he declared his feelings." "Lord Henley is quite a catch. He's heir to a vast fortune. His interest can't be limited only to your dowry." "Thank you. I'm glad it isn't only money that makes me attractive."
Gwyneth liked to believe it was her wit, her sparkling eyes, but she knew her position as sister to an earl and heiress to a hefty inheritance gave her a definite in with the gentleman, and it was just like Amelia to tease her.
"Your following of swains has nothing to do with your luscious figure, your dramatic looks, or your amiable personality. My unique skill as a designer has brought all these gentlemen to swoon at your feet,"
Amelia snickered, which made Gwyneth laugh. Tears were running down Gwyneth's cheeks. "You do know how to level a woman's confidence." The comment drove both to louder laughter. Gwyneth noticed that Ash had turned in her direction. He smiled. Lost in the merriment, she smiled back before she remembered her resolution not to appear as a puppy, waiting at his feet for a pat on the head. She could hide her feelings as well as he did. Forbidden by some unwritten gentleman's code, Ash considered her off-limits. She wasn't sure if it was the age difference of 8 years, his rakish past, or her position as his best friend's younger sister. He still kept her at a distance, maintaining that she was a mere youngster and they were simply childhood friends. She had spent the entire season trying to convince him otherwise, but she was tiring of the game.